And now I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Sri Lanka.
Mr. President, it is said that we will not enjoy security without development. We will not enjoy development without security, and that we will not enjoy either without respect for human rights. Mr. President, it is in this recognition of that ethos that Sri Lanka reiterates its continued cooperation with the United Nations and the Human Rights Council. Mr. President, at a time of intense cynicism and polarization within the multilateral arena on human rights and humanitarian situations in the context of an ongoing traversities of these norms, we urge the Human Rights Council to avoid politicization and selectivity and uphold its founded principles and commitments to impartiality, objectivity, and non-selectivity, as echoed this morning, stipulated in the General Assembly Resolution 60/251, and the IB package, which mandates the Council to promote and protect human rights globally, address violations, and provide recommendations, whilst the institution building package remains a framework that outlines the Council's structure and procedures and includes mechanisms such as the Universal Periodic Review, which assesses the human rights records of all UN member states and sets guidelines for special procedures and complaint mechanisms, strengthening the Council's roles and functions. Mr. President, as this report references Human Rights Council Resolution 57/1, we wish to place on record Sri Lanka's position as the concerned country regarding this politicized resolution, which was adopted last month. Sri Lanka categorically rejected the proposed resolution 57/1, which is an extension of the mandate of resolution 51/1, and joins issue with any resolution which extends the mandate of the external evidence gathering mechanism. Mr. President, Sri Lanka is committed to dealing with outstanding human rights issues, including reconciliation through domestic processes, notwithstanding the rejection of the resolution. Mr. President, we will recall that it was former Secretary General Kofi Annan who emphasized the importance of allowing domestic mechanisms to function effectively in addressing human rights concerns, as these systems are often better equipped to understand and address local issues. He advocated for strengthening national judicial and accountability systems to ensure that human rights protections are sustainable and rooted in its local context. This approach, he believed, would foster genuine long-term improvements while ensuring that international interventions support rather than override a country's efforts to uphold human rights. Mr. President, Sri Lanka will continue its engagement with the Human Rights Council and regular human rights mechanisms in a spirit of cooperation and constructive dialogue in line with its voluntary undertakings. In conclusion, Mr. President, we reiterate our call to the Human Rights Council to avoid politicization and double standards, and to concentrate its efforts on urgent humanitarian crises that demand attention in order to uphold its credibility and its legitimacy. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of Sri Lanka